So on My Math Lab, they're going to give you a question and it will have the formulas listed. And again, on your test, I will also give you these formulas, but you have to know which formula to use. So this question asks us to find the accumulated, so that is again the end amount, which is represented by the variable A, of an investment of $25,000. So the investment is $25,000 worth. So that is going to be your principal, your beginning amount of P. Okay. They also tell you that it's for 7 years. So that tells you that your time is equal to 7. And then it's at an interest rate of 5%. So the interest rate of 5% is going to need to get converted into a decimal form. So the decimal form, I'll move it 2 to the left, and that will tell us that our interest rate is 0.05. And then it's kind of a 4-part question. They say, okay, what is the amount for compounded semi-annually? Now, in just compounding it semi-annually, you do not have the word continuous. You're just compounding it 2 times a year. So that means you're going to use this first formula. So you will have A is equal to P times 1 plus R over N to the NT. All right, now if you kind of list out the variables that we've identified that P should be equal to 25,000. We've identified that the R variable is 0.05 and that the T variable is equal to 7. What we have not identified for part A here is the N value. And N, remember, stands for number of times that you're computing this interest. So when you talk about N, that is the number of times per year you're computing it. If you are computing the interest semi-annually, then that means that you're computing it twice a year. So N would be equal to 2. So what you do is you take all of these variables and plug it into the formula. So we will have P is 25,000, 1 plus the interest rate of 0.05 over N, which is 2, and then N, which is 2, and then our T, which is 7. Now, once you get the formula written, there is a little bit of a challenge trying to type it in on the calculator. You have to be very, very careful about going through your PIMDES process. So if you think about PIMDES, the first thing that you need to do is evaluate the parentheses first. So if you type in here this 1 plus 0.05 divided by 2, that is fine because of the fact that according to PIMDES, they're going to do the division and then they're going to do the addition. But if you want to be very careful about this, you would do 0.05 divided by 2. That gives you the 0.025, and then you're adding that to 1. So, and then you have your 2 times 7, so 14 in the exponent. And so this would become 1.025 raised to the 14. And then your 25,000 is still going to tag along throughout that entire process. Okay, so what will happen here is I would get your parentheses evaluated first, and then I would type all of this into your calculator. So your 25,000, and then parentheses 1.025, close your parentheses, and then raise it to the 14th power. Now again, just like with our previous work, you have to be very, very careful about rounding appropriately. So they ask here for us to round to the nearest cent. So we're going to round to the nearest 2 decimal places. So that's going to be 35,324.345. To round to the nearest cent, this 4, because if you look to the right, you have a 5, so that is going to have to get rounded to a 0.35. So your final answer that you would type in would be 35,324.35.